Little bit of React content. I know React gets a bad rap. People literally, like, with a straight face, they'll type out stuff like, "This is low effort content. Play the same video game you've played for 400 hours and say nothing over top instead." When did you get so lazy as to try to come up with original jokes while reading things? When instead you could be playing League of Legends just going, well, DMCA music plays in the background. But I thought to myself, what's my brand on Twitch? My brand is judging people's behavior in public. And especially, I like Am I the Asshole, the subreddit, because of the fact that you get to hear people's perspective on the way that they behave in public. Not everybody gets to think about that. You know, when you see someone like cut you off in traffic, you never get to talk to them and be like, "Hey, why'd you cut me off?" It's always just like, "Oh, you know, they probably kick their dog when they get home," and stuff like that. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to check out some of these and see. Let's start. This one, am I the asshole for announcing that my dad's not paying my college tuition? That's like a little spicy. We'll look at that in a second. The one that jumped out to me immediately is, am I the asshole for picking out the peas from my dinner in front of my mom's boss? If you give me a second, it's such a Daniel post. Let me click on that for a moment. It's taking a second to load. What the? Okay. Hello, I'm 20 and I live with my mum in the UK. The meta is the rising tab, not hot. Just let me read it for 2 seconds, okay? I'm 20 and I live with my mum in the UK. Mum hosted a mini dinner for some colleagues. Her husband has a big house and a garden where we sat. I don't like dinners and eating with strangers, but I had to sit with them, which was a little bit stupid. Fair enough. Hey, this is a long post right off the bat. I don't think you should have to go to a dinner party for your mom to begin with. I don't think she should have asked you to go to a dinner party with her colleagues. They made food I don't like. It had peas in it. I don't like peas. My mom knows this, but I wasn't allowed to eat other stuff because it would be making a fuss and there was no time to make other things. I was not allowed to make something myself either. I picked out the peas for my dinner to feed to the ducks at the pond close to my stepdad's house because I know ducks like peas. They shouldn't eat bread because it's bad for them. I put all the peas in a little cup with my spoon. Not an asshole so far. Maybe, a little bit unusual of behavior, but not an asshole. Mom's boss was sitting opposite of me and asked what I was doing, so I told him. He was silent for a while and then said, okay. We didn't talk a lot, but sometimes he asked me a question and I answered. At the end, he gave me some more peas that he had removed from his own food. I asked if he didn't like peas, and he said, I do like peas, but I also like ducks, so they can have my peas, which is very nice of him. First off, the boss, not an asshole. Not an asshole at all. Seems like he picks up on the situation. He also gave me £5 to buy ice cream for myself when I feed the ducks, which was also very nice of him. We didn't talk much, but I think he's a nice man and I liked him. Actually, just a great human being. When he left, I talked to my mom and she came to me and she was angry or upset. She asked me if I spend all dinner picking out peas and I said no. I also ate the pasta bits, but there were a lot of peas to pick out. She asked why I did that in front of everyone because that's very rude to do during dinner. It shows you do not like the food and are not interested in the guest. This is exactly what I thought, so that's true. Mom said that she understands that it's not nice, but she says it's important, then it's really important. I should keep that in mind. They were people who deserve respect and who feel put off by others touching their food strangely or not engaging with them. Mom's boss told her before he left that maybe next time I should eat something else because I didn't eat much. I didn't think about this. I'm just wondering if I missed something important here. Easy. Sorry, I forgot that you can't see everything here. Not the asshole. My verdict on this one, not the asshole. Let me give the first punishment, no punishment. Mom, is she an asshole? Let's talk about it for just a moment, okay? Step one, not the asshole because Shouldn't have been at the dinner party in the first place. Should have not compelled your child, who is not related to your dinner party, to come to the dinner party in the first place. So you're, first off, absolved because you shouldn't have even been around in the area to begin with. Secondly, you get invited to the dinner party, but you don't like the food. Doesn't make you a jerk. I know previously I've said, like, if you pick things out, I'm going to take issue with you. It depends on the context. It depends on the situation. The banter that we've gone through in the past while playing Trackmania, I present a one-size-fits-all solution that doesn't actually fit all. You got to look at the situation. If you weren't supposed to be there, it's a pain in the butt for you to be there in the first place, and you don't like the food, then do whatever you want. As far as I'm concerned, you get a free pass to do something like that if you were only at the dinner party under duress in the first place. Secondly, I don't know why the mom's being so anal about this when honestly, the boss seems like they were kind of on the level and they understood that was happening. For those 3 reasons, not the asshole. I'm scared to see what the comments might look like. Oh, you have to click to open the discussion. What a world. For those reasons, I'm out. No, for those reasons, I'm in. Also, can I tell you, the greatest boss of all time. The boss deserves a post on r/based legends. Okay. What's the update, though? Let me see here. Oh. Thank you very much for your insight. I appreciate all the comments and also the awards. I think that's very cool to receive. I talked about it with my mom. Okay, that's the other thing, is that for all the judgmental stuff in these situations, look, most of these are literally, they can be solved like every TV show or movie on the planet, which is literally just talk to the person that you had the problem with in the first place. Almost every comment said that her boss was nice. He probably wasn't angry or upset with her. I told this to my mom. She said sorry to me again because she wasn't upset with me at all. She was just embarrassed because she tried to get me to behave normally and she shouldn't have done that. She took it out on me on a whim. Honestly, this seems like a really nice resolution and situation. People are going to have conflict from time to time. The thing that's most important is controlling how it's resolved. Last thing is that I fed the ducks the peas. I think they were happy about it. The thing with ducks is that they don't say that to you, of course. They're not wrong. I got an ice cream with 2 scoops at the pond. I also got one from my mom because I had money left. It was a little bit melted when I came home because it was 5 minutes walking. But she still liked it and said I was amazing. Thank you for reading. What a nice resolution to the first post. Also far too wholesome to be on Reddit. You should get out. This should be your only interaction with this website. You get out while the getting is good. You've done great work. You've elevated people's days with your story. I think now you must escape, okay? Uh-oh, this one's a little spicy. Some of these are updates. Maybe we'll go back to them at some point. But am I the asshole for telling my friend she is reaping what she sowed? Uh-oh. At the beginning of quarantine, my friend Bella proposed open marriage to her husband, Mike. The timing was off, obviously, but she thought about it a lot and said it was the only way for her relationship with Mike to survive because she loved him dearly but felt unfulfilled. All right, names were changed to protect the innocent. Mike hesitantly agreed because he did not want to lose her. When I asked him about it, he seemed not thrilled. Backstory here is Bella and Mike have known each other since middle school, but only started dating in college, at which point Bella had a lot more experience in relationships. Mike told me he's always felt like he was one step behind her in most things, but their marriage really worked and he was very happy for her. Okay, that sets the stage. During quarantine, the two of them became even closer, but Mike didn't expect Bella to actually go through with the open relationship she had proposed. Am I the only person that cannot trust the story where the woman is named Bella? I can't read the story with a straight face because it sounds like Twilight. Like it just sounds like fan fiction. Anyway, Cut forward to an hour ago. Bella calls me crying, saying Mike cheated on her. I'm all questions, because Mike would never. She tells me she tried calling Mike all day, but he had a date and hasn't come home yet. I said, wasn't that sort of okay between you two? She sobbingly tells me that yes, this was sort of the deal, but that he hadn't been able to go on she hadn't been able to go on a date yet because she's so busy with work being back. Mike went on his date as if she meant nothing, that he hadn't disclosed any details to her, and she felt he was just ridiculing her. I didn't really know what to say and told her, well, honey, I think you really said the word. Well, honey, I think you just reaped what you sowed, honestly. You hit her with the hun. You took the honey pill. She's furious with me and screamed at me for being an awful friend, that I should understand how she feels. I kept quiet, but honestly, I think she's upset that her husband is just doing what she proposed in the first place. I haven't talked to Mike yet, but am I the asshole? Okay, this is let's assume that this is not fake, okay? I think we can have, you're the asshole, not the asshole, everybody sucks here, or fake. It might be fake, but let's operate on the assumption that it's not, okay? There's a couple of different questions here, okay? First off, is Mike the asshole? If we're to take the story at face value, my judgment on that, Mike is not the asshole. He was proposed the situation, agreed to the terms of the situation. She didn't like how it felt. That doesn't make him the wrong person in this situation. Is the OP kind of an asshole? I honestly am going to say a little. Is there a little? I would, if I were the judge in asshole court, I would put you on asshole probation here. And the reason is, you didn't do anything wrong except tell the truth, which normally you would, if you're 4 years old, you believe that that's good to do in all situations. But when your friend is going through like a hard time, they're calling you sobbing, you should not utter the phrase, told you so, well, honey, I think you just reaped what you sowed. Like, that's the kind of thing you say to, like, your nemesis when you've bested them in combat or in the marketplace of ideas. I think that's a situation where you don't have to be like, wow, Mike's being a dickhead. I can't believe he would do that. But you also don't have to say, well, honey, I think you just reap what you sowed, honestly. That seems like a little much. So I'm going to say you're the asshole a little bit. Your punishment in my court of public opinion is you got to apologize and say, I shouldn't have said it like that. And that's it. I'm not even looking at the comments because I think that things get locked on Am I the Asshole within like a couple of days or something like that. Is Bella the asshole? I feel like you can't, I don't want to call her an asshole because, like, hey, she proposed the situation. Afterwards, she decided she didn't like it. That doesn't make her an asshole. It makes her, regret her action. Maybe a little bit naive or, she is reaping what she's sowing. I guess she is saying her husband is ridiculing her, but anyway. What the heck? Am I the asshole for telling my mother we won't be going to her wedding since she bleached my daughter's hair? This is one of those titles that when you just look at the title, I just realize that I live a different life to some of the people on planet Earth. Am I the asshole for telling my mother we won't be going to her wedding since she bleached my daughter's hair? Okay, Let's check this one out, all right? Let's see. My mom is getting married at the end of July. My daughter, who is 11, was going to be her flower girl. I know she's a bit old for the role, but she's the youngest granddaughter. Shut up. I know. Sorry. Literally nobody on earth was like reading this post and they're like, 11, isn't that a little old to be a flower girl? Nobody cares. Just get to the story. Over the holiday, July 4th, we're in the USA. Surprise, surprise. My husband and I both were on call, so my daughter stayed with my brother and his wife, who went over to my mom and her fiance's house. While they were there, my mom bleached my daughter's hair without even asking me. We dye her hair semi-regularly with Arctic Fox, which is safe for kids. About a week ago, we dyed it a very pretty blue. My mom detests unnatural hair colors and has been hounding me to fix it for the wedding. My daughter was fine with being a brunette for a while when I asked. I was going to let her blue fade out naturally, then put a dark brown over it before the wedding. I guess that wasn't soon enough for my mother. Obviously, I'd never bleach a child's hair, but my mother in all her glory decided it was a perfect time to fix her hair for me. This woman used to be a stylist, but she should know better. I am furious. Her hair is so dry and damaged, and the blue isn't even out. It's like this splotchy, faded green-blue with spots of blonde. I don't want to put any product on it now because I don't want to risk more damage. The only good thing is she didn't touch the roots. I have an appointment Thursday at the salon I go to for her to try to fix it. Can I tell you right off the bat, again, assuming the story is correct, so far, and this is where I'm wondering where we're going to go in the next couple of paragraphs. So far, I don't know whether she's the asshole, but the mom is definitely an asshole so far. I definitely also think that there's a pretty good chance that the 11-year-old kid actually asked to have the hair bleached, but I don't have that kind of contextual information. Or maybe the mom said, hey, I used to be a stylist. I could do something really cool with your hair. And then, hit her with the, would you like to get it bleached? And because they're 11, they're like, yeah. So that could happen anyway. But so far, mom, she's out of line. This is why we have cell phones. Just send a text or something and be like, hey, is it okay with you if I bleach your 11-year-old's hair? At which point you could say, no, are you insane? And then it would be okay. She wouldn't go through with it, or she would, and then you could send her to prison. I told my mom we won't be going to her wedding, which is causing a commotion. That seems fair. I could see how that would cause a commotion. I've been getting a lot of, she's a control freak. It's just how she is. It's not a big deal. It's just hair from almost everyone. I cannot believe my sister-in-law. See, I've been online too long. I know what SIL means on this one. I cannot believe my sister-in-law, who's usually the best babysitter, let this happen. My brother says I can fix it, like it's so easy. My daughter hates her hair and expected a pretty bleach blonde like Billie Eilish, which is what her grandma promised her, not a faded mess. People are acting like I'm overreacting and that my mom's best intentions trumps my own parental choices. I know people already judge me for letting my kid have colored hair. They don't see how bleach is different. What the hell are you talking about? The little main character syndrome, IMO. That's not illegal in my court, but you think you're walking around the Mall of America and people are like, there's a lady who lets her 11-year-old have blue hair. What the hell are you talking about? And I know you're all judging me because she's a little bit old to be a flower girl. They don't see how bleach is different. Hi, everyone. Didn't expect this much feedback. I've seen a ton of your comments and several private messages with advice. Thank you. I'll be discussing the options with my stylist. Thank you all. This is a tough one. I am going to say, can there be nobody's the asshole, but everybody sucks? Like a little column A, column B mixed together in like an alloy? You, the mother in this case, or the grandmother, should not have messed with the kid's hair without running it by the mom. Even if the kid wants something done, they're 11 years old. You got to run it by the mother first. I mean, you got to run like everything by a parent. You never know. Like you could have the kid over and they're like, oh yeah, my mom lets me eat peanuts, and then you feed them peanuts and they're allergic. Like they don't know what they're doing. They're 11 years old. So I think IMO, you got to run that by the parent to begin with. So that mom's kind of the asshole. She gets an extra asshole asterisk because at least from this person's reasoning, bleaching, not good for your hair. That seems to make sense. And if you're 11, probably is even worse. Is OP the asshole for not going to their mom's wedding? That's a tough one for me. I would. It depends, okay? Here's where I think that the context requires more, or you require more context to make a judgment here. If it's a situation like you're in your 30s or 40s, you got an 11-year-old kid, you gotta have you want to have a relationship with your parents. If it's a situation where she stepped out of line once, and then you're like, well, that tears it. I'm not going to go to your wedding. That kind of makes her the asshole. If it's a situation where she's constantly doing that, she's stepping out of line all the time, I could understand why maybe being a line stepper would lead to you being like, I'm just going to cut you out. Can I also say something that people are not going to like here, but I'm going to say it anyway because I feel like it and I believe it? I also want to know, and it's my courtroom, so I feel like I can ask for it. How many times has her mom been married? Okay? Because I feel like if her mom was married once, got divorced, and then 20 years later she's getting married to another person, but it seems like they're in it for the long haul, you got to go to that wedding. That's like, that guy's going to be part of your life forever. But if this is like her 8th wedding, then that's not even really that much of a threat to be like, I'm not going to this one. You're like, I'm going to be mad at you for this one, but, in 2 years when you get married again, maybe I'll forgive you by then. So I don't really have an answer for this one. I think it's a classic Reddit situation. She probably shouldn't have bleached her hair. It does seem like you're going a little bit over the top, threatening not to go to her wedding, but I reserve judgment and call a recess of the court until further information can be provided. I will say, I kind of feel like if you if you say you're not going to go to like your closest family relations wedding, that's pretty close to be like, I'm just going to cut you out of my life forever. So I would like to know. Anyway, I think am I the asshole for asking how many times she's been married? Please read the comments on this one. Not the asshole. It's just how she is. The classic rug sweep for dealing with toxic individuals. How would you characterize your relationship with your mother otherwise? Too reasonable for me to read the entire thing. I want to see OP. OP? Does OP have any posts in here? What the heck is a participant, by the way? I don't know new Reddit. I'm in an incognito window. Ice cream penis. Wholesome award. That's not something I expected. Oh, man. That's so good. Wait, what's their name? Arctic Foxy. Anyway, I think... you can sort by Q&A. I don't see... Maybe they have no... Oh, no, they do have a reply here. Did you ask your daughter if she still wanted to be in her grandmother's wedding? I would base my judgment on the answer to that question. Look, the more context we have, the more this bores me, quite frankly. So I think we're just going to move back to the main page where I can take things out of context for humor. Let's not do that one. How about... am I the butthole for causing drama during an important football game? Can I just say something right off the bat? My hunch is no. It depends on the situation, but it depends on the drama, I would say. This one is terrible. Let's see. We can always look, We can always look and then get out of there. Uh-oh. Get out of this relationship now. You are not the asshole. However, your partner is a world-class giant asshole. That's the first thing I saw. So I'm anchored on that. But let's see here, okay? Spoiler. Last weekend, I, female 27, ended feeling a wee bit poorly with what turned out to be appendicitis. Okay, sentence one, a wee bit poorly. I'm pretty sure that appendicitis is when it feels like your stomach is on fire and gonna explode and you have to have emergency surgery. Anyway, so she was feeling a wee bit under the weather. We were away for the weekend with my partner, male 39, so I had surgery at a hospital. I was feeling a wee bit poorly. Oh no. So I had surgery at a hospital 3 to 4 hours away, as one does. I had a small complication during surgery, so I had to stay until Wednesday. My partner returned to work on Monday, but he came back to pick me up. All right, well, that's nice of him. Hey, that's a 3 to 4 hour drive. I mean, I know that she went through some stuff, but hey, that's round trip. That's like a 6 to 8 hour drive. That's a pretty nice guy. She could have just taken an Uber. The timing was bad because there was an important football game yesterday, and it was really important for my partner to watch it. I am not English, so I don't quite get the importance, but it's a big deal for him and so important I wanted to make sure he'd see the game. I suggested booking a room near the hospital so we wouldn't miss it due to the drive, but he wanted to see the game at a friend's place. He said he'd make it. Hey, nothing's gone wrong yet, okay? It does appear to be going in a bad direction, and I can see where it's going, but this is all totally fine. If the Canucks were playing in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and my wife had appendicitis, and I had to do a round-trip drive to the hospital and pick between that or the game, I would go to the hospital because I'm not a fucking idiot, and it's just sports. But maybe, sure, I would be like, let's watch it while we're there. Like, let's get a hotel room or something. So it was nice of her to suggest. While we were waiting to get me discharged, he was getting agitated because it was taking a long time. He had to wait outside, so he was in his car the whole time because of restrictions at the hospital. After a couple of hours, he sent me a text that he had to leave or he'd miss the game. Wrong answer. Wrong. You should not. I don't even need to say it, I think. At some when you say things and they come out of your mouth and then you regret it, there's a little forgiveness built in because it only takes a fraction of a second to get your brain to say something that you regret. When you're typing it out on a phone, surely at some point you got to be like, I should not send this. Like, you shouldn't have even started typing it, but after you got halfway through the text, you got to hit the backspace button on that at least. Anyway. After a couple of hours, he sent me a text he had to leave or he'd miss the game. I begged him not to leave and reminded him I could book a hotel, but he left without me and luckily made it on time to see the start of the game, which as an England fan was the best part. He said he'd come pick me up tomorrow instead. Really bad. Really, really bad. This is not a hotel where I think you can just kind of be like, oh, can I just take another night? Can I just, I just don't know what to say. And the man is 40, but the hospital wouldn't let me stay another night or leave alone. Who would have thought? Luckily, one of my friends came in to get me in the end. That's nice of them. Maybe you should be dating them. Oh, she didn't get to the hospital until late, and we got back to London around 2 a.m. The whole time I was trying to call and text my partner, but he only said we could talk about it today. The whole evening I was texting and calling ever since the moment he left me at the hospital. He only sent me one WhatsApp back that said he'd pick me up later, but wanted to see the game. When I got home that night, he was so angry at me. He said I was the most selfish asshole for constantly ringing and texting him during the game, and that I ruined the game for him and embarrassed him in front of his friends. Whoa, is that your loving girlfriend again? Wow, your girlfriend's texting you during the game? That's so embarrassing for you. He said he cannot even look at me, and I bring so much drama, it's humiliating to him. I feel at a complete loss. I think I might be the asshole for not understanding the cultural significance of football and asking my boyfriend to do a completely unreasonable drive to pick me up. Am I the asshole? If this is real, again, we're operating on the assumption that it's real. I want to believe that it's fake because it's damaging to my psyche to believe that this human being exists on planet Earth. Is the easiest judgment of all time. You are not the asshole, and probably your boyfriend should be like in prison. It's really bad. And maybe I do hope it's fake. I love like I don't know what to call it, but I love that when people phrase their like super reasonable opinion as if like it's brave. I totally agree, and I am English. Yes, it's coming home, and it's an amazing achievement for our country, but I would never abandon my partner at the hospital just so as not to miss the first few minutes of the game. Yeah. Oh, really? Wow, what are you, like a monk or something? You wouldn't abandon your partner at a hospital 4 hours away just to not miss the start of a football game? Plus, he could have listened to the radio whilst driving you home. He is unbelievable selfish. You cannot depend upon him. Yes, this is absolutely true. It's not coming home. But yeah, seriously? How dare you? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. How very dare you? This is if this person is real, they are the worst human being of all time. I get it, okay? Again, as a Canucks fan, I understand having a historic sporting drought. You also gotta remember, you know, there's gonna be other Euros. Your girlfriend only gets one appendix. I think it's probably, and that's the other thing. I hate to say this, because it shouldn't be relevant, but like, you're 12 years older than your girlfriend. Like, you gotta be I shouldn't say you have to be the bigger person, but like, you gotta at least be their equivalent level of maturity, I think. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of embarrassing. I don't know what to say. When your girlfriend is 12 years younger than you and she's the adult, sort by controversial. Okay, I'm going to put it off screen for a second for you while I sort by controversial. Okay, no way this is a real story. That seems fair. Now I have another reason to want Italy to beat England. Okay, that's a little... Hey, it's like I made a tweet yesterday. You can't judge all of a country just based on the behavior of, like, the literal worst people that might not even be real to begin with. Top comment, be civil. Everybody sucks here. I gotta read this one. Oh, no. Everybody sucks here. He obviously sucks because he's a massive pile of garbage for treating you this way. Yet here you are enabling him. You are clearly going to stay with him despite hundreds of people telling you not to. He doesn't care about you in the slightest. Good luck. Ooh, I don't know if I would have gone in that direction. Anyway, yeah, he's the asshole. You're not the asshole. But also, honey, you gotta dump him. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that if she wants the bed share, she needs to sleep in the kids' beds? You know, I have a 9-month-old infant, so I'm pretty much the master of family relations, I would say. This is an opportunity for me to possibly lend my wisdom. My wife and I have been together for 6 years. She has a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. When we first got together, they were both still in her bed. They were both relatively small, and I worked nights. It was never an issue. Last year, I suffered a work injury. Now I have to sleep on a memory foam mattress. What's the WTFs for? Oh, because she still slept with her kids? Look, sharing a bed with your 7-year-old and your 3-year-old because they met 6 years ago, that's not that weird. And there might be some cultural aspect too. Like, don't get me wrong, it's unusual uh, in Canada. But when I taught in Korea, I found out that a lot of the kids, even as they get to be like in middle school, the dad has like their own bedroom, and then like the mom and the kids sleep together still. But anyway, this is when they were younger, when they were 7 and 3. Not weird at all. I assume by now both kids would have grown out of co-sleeping, but obviously haven't. Okay, here we go. I can't comfortably sleep in a bed with two kids, especially because my stepson is a little ninja. He's constantly kicking during the night. Also, a very fair statement. Two more people inside of the bed would be very annoying. They will occasionally sleep in their own beds, but very rarely. My stepdaughter's a little better, but my stepson will have meltdowns if we try to send him to his own bed. My wife doesn't believe we should force them out, which I understand, but I can't keep sleeping on the couch while they're in the bed. A couple days ago, I blew up over it. My back is killing. I'm tired. I gotta say that as of halfway through this story, I do kind of... I sympathize a little bit. I hate that he said blew up, because I might end up looking like the asshole myself soon. But, you know, you're tired, you got a back injury. It sounds like your spouse is unwilling to lay down the law with her kids that if possible, they absolutely need to sleep in their own beds, and they can't, you know, keep co-sleeping until they're like, 25 years old. I told her to take the kids and sleep in one of their beds. I need the comfortable mattress for my back. We never really got to discuss it because my stepson got angry and started crying. That night, she took the kids to her parents for the night, and back at home, she explained they wouldn't all fit in one of the kids' beds. She agreed I could have the big bed, but is ordering a memory foam mattress for our son's bed so I can sleep there comfortably. I don't want to sleep in a kid's bed. I want my bed, and I'd actually like to spend the night with my wife. Look, I imagine if you're in this situation, it sucks really bad, but it is kind of hilarious that she was like, okay, we'll get a memory foam mattress for a little kid's bed, and you can sit there, or you can sleep there. We're going to sleep in the adult bed. Anyway, I don't want to sleep in a kid's bed. I want my bed, and I'd actually like to spend the night with my wife. Honestly, this is all pretty fair so far. Her parents are on her and the kids' side, obviously, but I still don't think I should have to give my bed up for them in the nicest way possible. I paid for it. The issue was getting worse, and my in-laws are now calling me abusive for trying to take their comforts. Important info. Both kids and wife are ASD diagnosed. Stepson also has ADHD. I feel like this is a situation where honestly we just need like a GoFundMe to just get you another bed. Like I understand the situation here, okay? The kids and the wife, for comfort, they want to sleep together. Okay, that's fine. But you shouldn't have your husband sleeping in a middle schooler's bed with a memory foam mat. Do they even make memory foam mattresses for like beds for 11-year-olds? Like, I feel like that market has got to be like wafer thin. There are like a lot of 11-year-old kids who have sciatica. I mean, I guess they just got to cut it different. But anyway, I'm going too far into the logistics probably. It's kind of an insane situation to begin with. I really feel like if you got a great relationship with your wife, except for the bed thing, you just got to buy a bed. I think we got to we can all pitch in like a quarter each and buy them like another adult-sized bed with a memory foam mattress, and then it should be fine. If it's about the principle, then I understand where the husband is coming from. It would suck to be married and then not only not be able to share a bed with your wife, but also be like, you can go sleep on the kid's bed. Like, it's a little insulting, but you could just, I don't want to say like just buy another bed, forehead, but like, come on, just get another bed. Surely, I go on Craigslist or so you could get it anyway. Okay, I don't know. Everybody sucks here. I think it's just a really weird. It's just a really weird post. I don't know how to feel. I'm, I'm shaken to the core. Why does he suck? Cause I'm like, I look. The solution to me is so obvious that I'm like, he sucks for not getting the bed. I know that it's not that easy. Like you can't just buy a memory foam mattress, Monopoly man. But I'm like, surely you could have gotten the. I just don't believe that he's exhausted all of his options to fix the solution or to come up with a solution. Is it wrong to want to sleep with your wife alone? No, it's not. But also, if she has a genuine, like medical condition and so do her kids, then you got to put like an extra wrapper of context around that. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, well, like from a reasonable mindset, I should be able to sleep with my wife. That's true, but they have a medical condition. You got to. I hate to say it, I think the solution, based on this very narrow window into their life, is either they buy an adult-sized bed, or maybe the husband goes, I don't want to be here anymore, and, maybe you bring up this post in the divorce proceedings, and then a lawyer goes, she made you sleep in the kid's bed, and that probably helps your case, is my take on the subject. I didn't want to say it. Anyway, am I the asshole? Lawyer says you're not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance she's either with me or against me in this conflict? You're kind of the asshole for writing the headline like this. But I imagine it's going to be one of those things where you're like, yes. And then you open the post and it's about like, I believe children should have food. And she said no. But let's see. So my fiance, female 24, and I, male 27, got engaged in May and are currently planning for our wedding in August. It's worth mentioning I'm the sole earner because my fiance is still in university. I've saved up a decent amount of money to afford the wedding. Okay. Thing is, her parents get involved in everything from picking the engagement ring on my behalf, giving opinions on where we should rent, and now my mother-in-law, future mother-in-law, my future mother-in-law is giving opinions on our wedding. Future mother-in-law would follow up on everything we do and make negative comments like the best man, on things like the best man, the guest list, and food. She told my fiance she didn't like who I picked to be my best man and wanted me to replace him, and after a big argument, but I said no. Though my fiance said we should have just done it. Mother-in-law also wants me to uninvite people I wanted at the wedding so she could add more guests on her side of the family. I said no to that also. Now, the current or biggest conflict between us, mother-in-law called saying she didn't like the venue we picked, which is in our hometown. She wanted me to reconsider, but I said no since my fiance liked it too. But my fiance came to me yesterday to show me a venue her mom picked and already paid for, saying since she paid for it that I should say yes. I was in shock and angry because not only did she not consult us, but the venue she picked is 3 towns away from where my brother-in-law lives. Oh, 3 towns away where my brother-in-law lives. I immediately thought about my disabled parents who cannot travel this distance for health reasons. The guy's case just keeps getting, every single word builds him a more airtight case for not being the asshole, without a doubt. I was already on his side, and then he's like, I don't know if this makes me the asshole, but I was considering that my disabled parents can't make the trip. And I'm like, okay, you got me. You got me already. Besides, most of my family won't attend because of the distance. I said absolutely not agreeing on this venue. My fiance said she disagreed with me. I had no right to complain because her mom and dad paid a lot of money for this venue as a wedding gift and we should accept it. I calmly explained why I refused, and she kept saying I'm refusing on purpose because I hate her mom and I am playing cat and mouse with her. I bluntly said her mom is indeed making this a game and told my fiance she's either with me or against me on this issue. She either backs me up or there won't be any more wedding planning. She got upset, started crying, asking what she's going to tell her mom and why I was making her choose between me and her parents, but I feel like she's refusing to see why I don't want this specific venue. So what if her brother lives there? I've never been to that town, so having the wedding just because her mom paid for the venue is not okay. Oh my God. We haven't talked ever since that argument. My friend called me ungrateful fool for turning away a free wedding venue over distance, but I can't help but feel my future mother-in-law did it purposefully. Probably the cleanest cut case of you're not the asshole ever. It's worth noting there's always two sides. You know, like Dr. Phil says, no matter how thin the paper is, it's still got two sides. Now, Dr. Phil might be the asshole. I only recently found out he doesn't even have a medical license anymore. He's been like disbarred or something. But anyway, regardless of that, I'm sure that if the mother-in-law told the story, there would be maybe a little bit of extra context here. But the only reason I'm even bringing that up is because there's no meat on the bone to chew on here. There's like absolutely no controversy. There's no debate. I paid for my son-in-law's wedding venue and he broke up with her. Am I the asshole? I mean, like, the mother-in-law sucks, no question. I don't think that, I mean, if you're the asshole in the situation, which I don't think OP is, you might be an asshole for drawing a line in the sand, but I don't think you are. Because, it seems like at some point you got to put your foot down, especially your mother-in-law should have no right to influence who the best man is. I mean, really, you shouldn't even have any right to pick the venue to begin with. Like, it's actually his wedding. And if anything, can I tell you something that some people may agree with this, some people may disagree with this? If you have substantially more financial means than another person, paying for something and giving it to them without asking them for something like this is actually kind of an asshole move to begin with. And I'm maybe looking at this a little bit deeper than I should, but you're basically being like, the way that it sounds like her parents are in a position where they can afford to be like, I don't like your wedding venue, so we're just going to buy one and give it to you, and then you won't feel like you can refuse because, first off, it's a lot of money for you, it's not that much for us, and also it'll seem like you're being impolite or ungrateful. So I feel like that's, you're using your financial means to, help yourself in that direction instead of actually just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. Kind of manipulative. Let's see. Not the asshole, but this is a very good peek into your future. Look. I kind of feel like, and this is like opening the window into marriage or partnership of any capacity like this. When you're partnered in that way, you're like a united front. That doesn't mean you have to agree on everything, but it does mean that, like, you put the interests of your partner within reason over the interests of your parents. I love my parents. They raised me for like 20 years. If they tried to start having like undue influence over, my life with Kate, you got to tell them to like F off a little bit and vice versa. You do your best to protect that envelope, because if your parents, loved and respected you, they would respect your envelope. And then you eat dinner and maybe there's a little conflict. And then when you both go to your respective homes, you go, I can't believe they would do that. And then the other family's going, I can't believe they would do that. And then you talk about each other behind your back a little bit, but then you realize you still, love each other at the end. Anyway. That being said, I have pretty reasonable in-laws, and vice versa. So, I don't know. The other thing I will say is like, I don't think you can be like, just from this one story, this is how everything's going to look like in your life from this point onwards. The marriage is kind of, a wedding, I should say, is kind of a flashpoint event maybe where stuff like this can happen, but it doesn't, it's not a good data point, that's for sure. This, though, so much this. Cyber Monday, by the way. Get up to 60% off Intel Evo platform-based PCs at Lenovo.com. So many of the headlines are all clickbait, right? They're all like, am I the asshole for doing asshole thing? And then when the post comes out and you have context, the context is like, like this one. Am I the asshole for not telling my parents I'm going to go to a college states and states away from them? At first, I put myself in the shoes of the parent. And I'm like, yeah, this kind of an asshole move. And then you open it up, it's going to be like, my dad stole my college money and then ran away. Am I the ass? Maybe I still should have told him. Let's see. Am I the asshole for not telling my parents I'm going to a college states and states away from them? I'm going to college next month. My parents are strict. Their rules: no dating out unless in a group, no swearing, no girl allowed over or going to her house, no phone in the bedroom, no phone at night, no passwords. Social media has to be checked by a parent. Keep location on, Life 360, curfew 9:30 p.m., no whispering. No whispering. What the heck is that? Everything else I was like, it's really bad. Don't get me wrong. But no whispering has got to be the actual like dumbest rule I've ever heard in my entire life. If I want to watch something, they have to review it first to see if it has a lot of inappropriate content, etc. Honestly, your parents need to get a life, for one. Like, I am the slightest bit sympathetic. Right now, we have a baby. I'm in control of the baby's life 100%. Like Kate and I. I know what she eats. When she eats it. I know when she goes to bed. I have to physically, like, if she wants to do something, I have to pick her up and move her there. It's a great sense of power and control because I'm like, she can't get up to any mischief because she has essentially no free will right now. But when a child gets older, you gotta recognize they have their own agency, and I guess there's some irony in the sense that if you keep tabs on them and protect them like this, in all likelihood, you're doing more damage than if they actually like went out and, smoked a cigarette at age 16 or something like that, because, they're going to turn into total weirdos. I went to college with some people that were raised in kind of a controlled environment like this, and some of them were honestly, they'd had way more damage done to them by their parents. I remember I lived with a guy, and the guy is nice, don't get me wrong, but one time his parents drove down, unbeknownst to us, from like 5 hours away, and she walked through like our crappy off-campus house with like a glove on and was doing this to like see if there's any dust on the surfaces. And I'm like, yeah, there's dust on the surfaces. There's 7 people that are all 19 years old living here. We're not dusting. Also, you don't live here. So like, get over it. You drove like a 10-hour round trip just for that. Anyway, long story short, that's too much. Last year, I got a girlfriend. We've been friends since we were 12. She wasn't allowed over. If we went on a date, it had to be with friends. I bought condoms a couple of months after dating. My parents found them. They confiscated them and grounded me for a month. My girlfriend bought more for us because we still found our way around the rules. And no teen wants to have a baby accident just because adults are naive. If this is a real story, this kid is actually the parent. They're already smarter than the parents are. If it's fake, then it's fake. But if it's real, I think it's a great lesson that, you can set all the rules up that you want, but, people are still going to do what they want to do, I think. I figured if I showed responsibility by getting my own phone and paying the bill monthly, my parents would not treat me so childishly. Man, we haven't even like gotten in here yet. This is still the preamble. They got mad at me for having my own phone and said the same rules they had about the phone they bought me will apply to this phone. Still can't use my phone in the bedroom. Had to leave it in the living room at night. Still had it checked frequently. The most confusing thing about parents is they know their children will be considered adults at 18, but they shelter them and are overly strict with them as they get close to that age. How will they function as adults when they have no sense of independence? This now, my fake alarm is going off. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the zoom out to write in the third person to lampshade exactly what the post is trying to say. You ever been a teenager or heard a teenager talk? It's all about them most of the time. So the fact that you did that zoom out has me suspicious. But anyway, I live in New York, but I've applied to several colleges in Texas, Louisiana, California because I have family in those states. I paid for all my admission fees. I have aid from FAFSA. I did apply for some colleges in New York because I needed some info for my parents. So after they uploaded, I'd save it to my laptop. I decided on the University of Houston. Fall season starts. It's called the semester, kid, but I guess you haven't been outside that much. I can't blame you. 2 weeks after I turn 18, so my parents can't really do anything. I spoke to my third cousin in Houston, and I'm going to be with her. I wasn't going to tell my parents until August got closer, but they found out recently they're angry. My dad doesn't want to let me go. I told them I'll be 18, so it's not his choice. They told me I need to be close to home in case something happens. I said, we still have tons of extended family in Houston, and I'm going to be home with a family member. My parents called me a selfish brat. They walked away while I was still trying to defend myself. Am I the asshole? Obviously, no. Sorry about the screen region. That's what happens when you got a 4K monitor. If, again, assuming it's real, obviously no, and the good, well, you know what, even if it's fake, the story entertained me. It's worth it just for no whispering, which has got to be the most arbitrary rule I've ever heard in my entire life. Also, like, I hate to say it, but like, you know, your parents, honey, sounds like they reaped what they sowed. I like this one. Okay, so like I haven't read these yet, but I love this title. Am I the asshole for walking out of a house after the host told me to feel free to leave because she doesn't like people in her house? I told this story to Dan about how like I tried for or I went out for cross country in second grade. So like the lunchtime recess, the coach takes us all outside and is like, hey, just so you know, like this is not going to be a fun recess. Everybody, I expect you to, you know, give it all every week in cross country. If you don't think you can handle that, then you better leave right now. So I just turned and walked away. And then they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, this sounds like a lot. I'm just going to go. I wasn't even trying to own the coach. I was just like, honestly, I appreciate you setting the preamble. So I'm very thankful to you for telling me. And then everyone clapped. No, instead everyone was actually like, you know, you shouldn't have done that. But anyway, this reminds me of that. But let's look at this one first.